Women's Day, co-hosted by Center of Excellence, Art and Culture, Sri Shankarlal Sundarbai Shasan Jain College for Women, Chennai, and Nrityodaya, the Academy of Performing Arts, Mumbai. Prayer is the most powerful way to invoke the blessings of the Almighty. I now call upon COE Art and Culture intern, Ms. Janani, to sing the Jain Prayer, Navakar Mantra.
Namo Ariyantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayariyanam, Namo Vajayanam, Namo Loe Savasahunam, Eso Panchanamo Karo, Sava Pavapanasano, Mangalanam Cha Savesam. Padamam Havai Mangalam, Padamam Havai Mangalam.
Thank you for the melodious rendition, Janani. We inaugurate She Speaks series with 4 distinguished guests from different parts of the country to elaborate on the topic, the healing power of art during the pandemic, a woman's perspective. I request Ms. B. Yamini, COE Art and Culture staff, to kindly introduce the guests for the day.
Yamini, you are unmuted.
Namaste. I wish you all a very happy Women's Day. It gives me immense pleasure to honor the eminent guests for this morning session. Srimati Santosh Rajan, a beautiful Carnatic musician and Bharatnatyam dancer from Chennai, who then migrated to Mumbai once she got married after her graduation. She belongs to a family dedicated to fine arts, which includes her children as well. Ever since her childhood, she had participated in many competitions for writing stories, dramas, essays, and oratorial debates. She also excelled in painting and portrait enlargement and had won accolades and prizes. With support from her husband, R. Rajan, she is able to continue with her interest in fine arts even at this age of 75. She is a committee member in the prestigious Sri Shanmukhananda Fine Arts and Sangeeta Sabha Mumbai and heads the 2 subcommittees, Women's Wing and Shanmukhananda Theatre Group. The founder member of Maharashtra Dyslexia Association, helping children with learning disabilities. She, as a child artist, was a part of a famous professional group, TKS Brothers Drama Company, and did roles in their Tamil dramas for about 10 years. She had done a 2-year diploma course in dramatics with Madras Natya Sangh under Mrs. Rashmi Vaijipatha Sarathi. She has written, directed, and acted in more than 34 dramas in Tamil English, including the biopic of MS Amma and Mahakavi Bharatwar. She is heading the Children's Theatre and has produced many skits for the Sabha. She has in her credits 2 books of short stories in Tamil containing 25 stories. In the year 2018, she was given the Shanmukha Ratna Award by Sri Shanmukhananda Fine Arts and Sangeeta Sabha, Mumbai, for her exemplary service to this institution. It's a great pleasure to have you here, ma'am. Namaste. Srimati Gayatri Sundaresan. She learned Carnatic music from the age of 9. Her eminent gurus who have trained her through the journey of her music life are Devakoti Srinivasa Iyengar, disciple of Ariyakudi Ramanuja Iyengar, Sri V. Vamanan from Mumbai, with whom she learned from 1993. Sangeetakala Acharya Sri S. Rajam, a renowned artist and musician with whom she learned from 2002 to 2010. She is the correspondent for Shruti magazine since 1995, and has contributed articles to Shanmukha, Journal of Shanmukha Nanda Sabha. Srimati Gayatri sings for dance productions of Nrityodaya, Mumbai since 1997 and also was the committee member in charge of the Music School of Music Triangle, Mumbai during the period 1998 to 2002. She was the executive trustee of Shanti Arts Foundation and Endowment, Chennai, founded by Sri P. Ramabhadran, who was the founder of Music Triangle. Namaste, ma'am. We are happy to have you here. Srimati Lalgudi Vijayalakshmi is a well-known Carnatic violinist, vocalist, and composer. Her debut performance was in 1979. She was born in Chennai to the violin maestro Sri Lalgudi G. Jayaraman. Her brother G.G.R. Krishnan is also a noted violinist. She began her training under the guidance of her grandfather, Lalgudi Gopala Iyer, who belonged to the Sishya Parampara of Tyagaraja himself and later trained under her father. She travels extensively on musical tours all over the world. Srimati Vijayalakshmi is a proud recipient of awards like Yuvakala Bharati from Bharat Kalachar, Chennai, Sangeeta Kalasagaram, Hyderabad, Sangeeta Chudamani by Sri Krishna Kanasabha, Chennai, Tantri Nadamani from His Holiness Swami Jayendra Saraswati of Sri Kanchi Kamakoti Peetam, Kanjivaram, Kalki Krishnamurti Memorial Award, National Eminence Award by Shanmukha Nanda Sabha, Bombay 2020. Namaste, ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Miss Supriti is a diversity management consultant in Bangalore, India, who specializes in state-of-the-art comprehensive anti-discrimination policies, inquiry procedures, trainings for board of directors, management, employees, investigators of gender sensitization and sexual harassment at the workplace. She was invited as a speaker at UN World Diversity Leadership Summit and by UN Women in New York. She taught economics at MES College and National Law School of India University in Bangalore. Has co-authored a 2-volume book on urban poverty alleviation and microfinance. Had continuing education and research stints at Hamburg University, Nottingham University, New York University, and American Management Association, New York. She volunteers with Spic McKay since 1986, used to be its national vice chairperson between 2011 to 2013, and a member of the national executive from 2015 to 2017. During the pandemic, she was invited to be the jury for season 1 and 2 Indus Valley International Film Festival held online to showcase films from all South Asian countries. She interacted with renowned actors, directors, critics for the same. We are happy to have you here, ma'am. Namaste.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I request Dr. Jayashree Rajagopalan, Director, Nrityodaya, the Academy of Performing Arts, Mumbai, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Om Sadgurubhyo Namaha. Namaskaram. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you for the celebration of the International Women's Day organized by our institution, Nrityodaya, the Academy of Performing Arts, Mumbai, and the Center of Excellence, Art and Culture, Sri Shankarlal Sundarbai Shasham Jain College for Women, Chennai. Though the importance of our presence in our family and our workplace is recognized every day, this day of the year has been earmarked to give global recognition to the multitasking energy called woman. In India, the primeval energy, our source of creation and sustenance, is venerated as female power, Shakti, who pervades the entire universe. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupena Samsita. Namastasye, 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 Namo Namah. She manifests herself in us as Ichha Shakti, the desire to create, Jnana Shakti, the desire to gain knowledge to create, and Kriya Shakti, the desire to put that knowledge into action. Creativity is the foundation for all artistic pursuits, and we have with us four eminent artists who are here to share their experiences on the healing power of art during the pandemic, a woman's perspective. It is my privilege to extend a hearty welcome to Srimati Santosh Rajan, theatre artist and committee member of Sri Shanmukhananda Sabha, Mumbai, Srimati Gayatri Sundaresan, musician and correspondent, Shruti magazine, Srimati Supriti, coordinator, Spitmake, and Srimati Lalgudi Vijayalakshmi, musician and violinist, is the torch bearer of the great Lalgudi legacy. Thank you for being with us today. I would also warmly welcome Honorary Secretary General Sri Abhaya Shri Shrimalji, Secretary Srimati Usha Abhaya Shri Shrimalji, Associate Secretary Dr. Harish Mehta, Principal Dr. S. Padmavati, Vice Principal, staff and students of Sri Shankarlal Sundarban Shashun Jain College for Women, Chennai, and the staff and students of Nrityodaya, Mumbai. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I call upon Srimati Santosh Rajan to throw light on theatre as a morale booster.
Namaskaram. Good day to all listeners. Let me first thank Sri Shankarlal Sundarbai Sassoon Jain College for Women and Nrityodaya, an academy of dance, Mumbai, for inviting me to be a participant in the She Speaks series to celebrate the International Women's Day. My best wishes to women of the world. Woman can be said to be the greatest of all gifts nature endowed on us, incomparable in many ways. Woman, from her very arrival on this dear planet Earth, has given joys of various colors, hues, shades, and intensities in a very wide swinging spectrum, one end to another, as a child, a daughter, a sister, a wife, a friend, a daughter-in-law, and a grandmother. Besides positions in vocation or avocation she gets to be involved in. Stop to think of this just a while, and you realize that women biologically and by natural attunements are endowed with a certain power and grace in multitasking, be this in work related to domestic chores or the workplace. With due respect to men, it must be said that women do excel in competently handling ever-changing vicissitudes with relative ease and equanimity. Everyday challenges that life throws at us are taken generally met with a certain finesse and dexterity. Generally, again, solutions to everyday problems are embedded in the problems themselves. To understand this is not widest connotation calls for a certain state of mind, and that seems to come rather more naturally to women. Each situation calls for a particular way of handling. Art forms can easily form a substratum out of which possibilities for solutions seem to unfold in unique ways. We use the word art here in its widest amplitude. Art here extends to everything we do in everyday situations. Whatever we do should ideally have that touch of special grace, and that in many ways reflect our personality. There is art in the way we dress, way we walk, make our hair do, etc. Consider these as a way, as indicators of our own inner selves. These graces in our daily lives become part of our habits, So much so that there is no need to be intimately conscious of every action we are engaged in. Suffice it to say that there is art in what we do. Let the mind flow free to encompass everything around us. We need not be great singers to put children to sleep with our lullaby. That too is art of a certain kind. It is proven that plants react to our touch and our voice and grow to be healthy if the touch and the voice convey our emotions to the plants. This has been established in scientific research in many parts of the world. Our mothers kept chanting shlokas while cooking in the small hours of the mornings, and that food absorbed positive vibrations, in turn giving health and peace to those who took part of that food. This is art too, ingrained in habits developed over a period of time. Our culture is replete with ways and means that are guides to lead meaningful lives as an ongoing process of learning in unraveling the horizons beyond. And this whole journey, which has no end, can always be enriched expansively and exponentially through art forms. The stresses consequent to the advent of COVID-19 affecting the whole world have been approximately unprecedented proportions. The situation landed on us far too heavily and without any warning. It took some time for us to realize the gravity of the situation. We felt as though we were caught in a trap which had no escape route. To accept the reality was difficult. To control our minds was a humongous task. In many different ways, art came in to sustain us through these very trying periods. The importance of how much art helped is something that can never be overstated, not in any language. After the initial chaos of the new normal, which was forced down on us, it dawned on us that it has come to stay. It was impossible to predict for how long that lockdowns or other restrictions would continue, making routine lives rather difficult and stressful. The contribution of housemaids in running the everyday routine was the first one to grab our attention. CEOs or other highly positioned officers of corporate officers better understood and appreciated the importance of grassroots level functions like sweeping and swabbing. Sharing the responsibility of cleaning utensils piling up in the kitchen sink was another situation that gained prominent attention from a position where this was taken for granted. Perhaps for the first time in recent written history, men folk at home had to arise to new situations, a learning process where again involvement with art, like singing, had been immensely positive contributors. We experienced new art forms emerging through this trying period. Different, perhaps in each household, there is no doubt. Art in various ways contributed to the sailing through in difficult situations. We cannot adequately thank the TV channels that showed reruns and re-reruns of our epic stories that only maintained a certain balance in household relationships, but educated everyone about the treasure trove of our culture. This gave me an idea to tell my friends to hold an online workshop for old and the young to read up on Amar Chitrakatha and utilize their understanding by either enacting it or reproduce it on paper in the form of drawing. This was fun. That eased the mind from the actual burden of bearing reality. A grandmother taught her grandchildren how to draw kolam with wet or dry rice powder. This dyeing art got a big boost during the pandemic. Being a dramatist, I worked on my many themes and shared them with my family. My son, being a percussionist, did research on Google and prepared music score for dramas even before I could write the script. My daughter, an Odissi dancer, conducted her classes online. There was confusion among the students about the right and left side. That made their minds sharper. During the lockdown, she also conducted workshops for senior corporate executives online on how they too could use the takeaways from dance forms to enhance their own performances at workplace. A friend of mine called up from Chennai and requested me to tell 3 small stories for young school children and send them to her via WhatsApp. She gave me the stories in English, and it was going to be part of a film dealing with stress management for children during the pandemic. I carefully did the translation in Tamil and dressed up to face the camera and narrated the stories, adding certain dramatic expressions which went well with the kids. That was a beautiful way of stress busting. My husband brushed up his singing talent to record some songs and loaded them in YouTube despite his very busy schedule of work related to his business. I have so far spoken about the healing power of art. In a lighter vein, but art always has been giving us solace from any kind of stress. Let it be in any form, without that there is no life. Art is a basic structure on which our lives are built. Many feel that art is for entertainment. Yes, it is. But it has far-reaching effects in our mind to heal and rebuild happiness to help us continue with our journey. Every one of us are artists to various degrees. This pandemic has helped us to identify certain cryptogenic strengths within us to cope with previously inexperienced situations and yet carry on life with a smile. I rest with a restatement of my firm conviction that every cloud has a silver lining, and solutions to problems are generally always embedded in them. And most important of all, art forms can be nectar like panacea in meeting up with the unpredictability of ups and downs of life as successfully and as fulfilling as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. That was an amazing speech. Now I call upon Srimati Gayatri Sundaresan to share her thoughts with us.
You have to unmute yourself, Gayatri.
Sorry. Santosh Ji has really put very succinctly and very clearly what we all went through during the pandemic. So being in this forum, I would like to speak on how I dealt with it and some good thing that I have been able to do during this period. And first, I would like to thank Shri Shankarlal Sundarbai Shasan Jain College for Women, Center of Excellence, Art and Culture, and Nrityodaya, the Academy of Performing Arts, Mumbai, for inviting me to be a part of She Speaks series on the healing power of art during the pandemic, a woman's perspective. For me, beginning to learn the Samskrita Bhasha came as the balm during this period. The whole world has gone through a completely game-changing time in the last 2 years. When we realized that it was not a 1 week or a 1 month thing, we learned to cope with a new way. I'm again talking from the perspective of a senior citizen leading a comparatively sedentary life, anyway not very active. The worst affected have been the younger workforce, school and college-going children and youth, and the laborers and daily wage workers. For us, cooped up in our homes, each of us in our own way tried to find some outlet for our time and energies. That is when the whole wide virtual world opened up. Quite quickly and steadily, the online activities spread across all age groups, and it has been a virtual godsend for seniors like me. In 2020 June, I came across a message about an online Sanskritam course. It was labeled Subhashitam Sanskritam, organized by Samskrita Bharati and the Samskrita Club of IIT Roorkee. It was for a duration of 6 months. I signed up. I particularly always liked Samskrita Bharati's approach to teaching the language to make spoken Sanskritam easy. The first month of the course was a breeze, just starting with simple practical sentences like, what is your name? Bhavatyaha nama kim? Mama nama Gayatri. Like that we started. And then we started building vocabulary of many items which we use in our everyday activities. The Subhashitams started in the second month. We learned the language through this very carefully chosen set of 108 Subhashitams that led us through each step of understanding the Bhasha, starting from Akaranta Pullinga, Akaranta and Ikaranta Strilinga, the Vibhaktis, the various forms of verbs, lakaras. Each Subhashitam was chosen for giving us examples of these words and how they are used. It was like a building block game, each block taking us a step ahead in understanding the Bhasha. Apart from this grammar aspect, the Subhashitams, while appearing simple, held a much deeper underlying meaning, conveying core moral values. So, while we were learning the words, grammar, and the language, we were also learning or reinforcing life lessons and sage truths to live by. There are thousands and thousands of Subhashitams that have come down to us through the ages. We do not even know the origin or the name of the rishi or scholar who coined it. Each one is a gem in its own way. There are also fun Subhashitams, couplets with clever usage of words that can give rise to different meanings and much more. We had classes 4 days a week, and I must say I spent at least 4 hours every day writing the exercises to get them registered in my old brain. Every day there were new lessons. So unless we had grasped the previous day's lesson, at least to some extent, the learning curve would have just gone downhill. The teachers, all Samskrita Bharati volunteers, were extremely kind and patient. Clearly, they were passionate about teaching the Bhasha. And clubbing with IIT Roorkee, the digital management of thousands of students, yes, thousands, it was excellent. We had online quizzes, worksheets, study material, all at our fingertips. We had a total of 5 exams, one at the end of a particular topic every month. Oral tests were also included. We had to understand the audio questions, make videos of our answers, and upload them onto a link that they gave. So seniors like us had to become tech savvy also. At the end of the 6-month course, I had a basic understanding of various principles of Samskrita Bhasha. But now what? Then I discovered that there are many, many online courses where I would be able to learn more extensively. I have joined another course which is more spaced out, giving me more time to relearn the lessons with more practice and exercises. But then I also wanted to do something with what I had already learned. During the course, the teachers had repeatedly said that it would be good to learn the Subhashitams by rote. Initially, repeating them maybe 10 times was a good way to memorize them. But then, with 1 or 2 Subhashitams getting added every day, that was not really happening. Then, thanks to my knowledge of Carnatic music, I thought that if the Subhashitam was set to a simple tune, it would be easier to remember. My objective was also that anyone who listened to it, even without knowing music, should be able to catch it easily, like everyone can sing happy birthday to you, right? So I kept tuning the Subhashitams every day, starting with simple ragas like Hamsadwani. I tried to use as many ragas as possible, but kept the framework very simple. I'm happy to say that at the final count, I have used 91 ragas, repeating a few to complete the 108. I am also happy that within the 20 or 25 seconds, the Raga Bhava as well as the Artha Bhava have fallen in place quite well. The course and exams over, I started writing brief meanings for the Subhashitams in just 3 or 4 lines in both English and Tamil. I completed the self-imposed project in 3 months. Now what? I had the content in hand, and with the blessings of our Acharya, Sri Shankaracharya of Badari Peetham, I started posting one Subhashitam, the audio and the meaning in English and Tamil, in our Shakatapuram Acharya WhatsApp group, one every Thursday, that is Guruvaram, as Guru Samarpanam. Then I shared it with family and friends groups. I found an overwhelming response from every side. Can that one slide be shared now? Is it possible? Or is it possible to share that?
She is.
Yeah, okay.
She's trying that.
Yeah. Not this one. I had sent just the text. I would like this to come at the end. Okay, what I had done was, let me just say it if you're not able to get the...
Yes, I think you can just say that.
I'll do that.
Play the video at the end.
So this is just an example of one of the Subhashitams with the English and Tamil meaning. Sadayam hridayam yasya bhashitam satya bhushitam kaya parahite yasya kalistasya karoti kim. So the brief meaning, I'll say only the English one. A person whose heart is filled with compassion, speech rooted in truth, and is ever ready to physically help those in need, is never affected by the bad influence of Kali Yuga. A few weeks into this, one second. A friend requested me to make a video for their annual day virtual celebrations, an NGO called Prayas, run by women that I had been associated with. Of course, I was very happy to do this for them. When this video reached the channel Music of Madras, they approached me to make videos of all the 108 Subhashitams. I set to work again, went back to the drawing board, my course videos and study material, and prepared scripts anew for a duration of 2 to 3 minutes. These videos are now posted in the Music of Madras channel, one every Thursday. 12 videos have been posted so far, and the rest are to follow. And now, Sanskritam and Subhashitams have brought me this far, to this forum. During the lockdown period of emptiness and inactivity, missing meeting people, and so much more, Sanskritam came into my life with full force, like a flood, and it has literally consumed me. I feel totally grateful that during the bleak 2 years, I have got the light of the Deva Bhasha, and even more, that I'm able to share it with others. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. It was very thought-provoking. Now, I call upon Srimati Lalgudi Vijay. Sorry, the video will be played now.
This is one of the fun Subhashitams.
Jambu phalani pakwani patanti vimale jale kapi kampita shakhayaha gulu gulu.
Namaste. We have another Samasya Purti verse from Kalidasa today.
I can share the link to follow these Subhashitams later if you want.
Namaste. We have another Samasya Purti verse from Kalidasa today.
If there is a problem, it is okay, and we must be running out of time also.
The Mahakavi
I think there is
introduces
a slight
Kalidasa
Wi-Fi
painted a
issue.
beautiful
Just keep
landscape
going
in
on.
this shloka. Picture a wide river flowing peacefully down the hill slopes. There are trees along the banks laden with fruit. We zoom into one patch of jambu trees. The fruit is called Nagapalam in Tamil and known as black plum in English. The branches are bent low with the weight of the ripe fruit. Monkeys are playfully jumping about, swinging from branch to branch, making the ripe fruit fall into the water below, making the gurgling sound gulu gug gulu gug gulu. Taking leave of you, relishing and picturizing this happy scene, this is Gayatri Sundaresan wishing you a happy week ahead until we meet again next Thursday. Namaste. जम्बो फलानि पक्वानि पतन्ति विमले जले कपिकम्पितशाखायाः गुलु गुलु गुलु.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I call upon Srimati Lalgudi Vijayalakshmi to enlighten the audience with her thoughts.
Namaste and a very happy Women's Day to all the beautiful ladies, women gathered here to celebrate the International Women's Day today. I thoroughly enjoyed the poetic speech by Santosh ji and the musical speech by Srimati Gayatri Sundaresan. I did really get a lot of insight into what great personalities you are. And I'm here to share my experience as a musician, more than a woman. When I think of music, I think of many things. We say motherland, mother tongue. And if we were to attach a gender to music, I think music can be described as a beautiful lady. Feminine gender is what is most appropriate to music. I say this because if you take the 7 notes, Sarigama Padanisa, maybe we can start with Sa and compare it to 7 stages of a woman. A baby girl, Sa, Ri, a toddler, teenager, Ga, one moves into the adolescence, from there to, a beautiful, gracious woman. And Ma is the motherhood, where her all beautiful qualities come into culmination as a mother. And Pa gives the strength of masculine gender also. Da is where she matures into an aunt, grandmother, and Ni, she becomes a whole woman with all the qualities. So in music also, we start as a student. The music lends itself beautifully to all students to learn with simple melodies. And from there, we move on to learning a little more of music, which is not that easy, but which needs discipline, everything. And then from there, we move on to learning the compositions, which has limited creativity, but a more of discipline to memorize, learn, and things like that. And then we move on to a stage where we go on stage to perform. And there also the music gives us a lot of expression, helps us to express ourselves. And then we mature as a musician. There, our creativity blossoms. Music has all the qualities that we see in a woman. I personally feel motherhood and womanhood are not different. It is just the same, whether we are mothers in our lives, we still have all the qualities that motherhood bestows us. We are resilient, we are compassionate, we are strong, we are very matured, we can take decisions, we can manage very well. And all these qualities go into making a beautiful mother, a strong woman. And these qualities can be seen in music also. Music, when you see the laya aspect, which needs a lot of discipline and practice and rigorous practice, is one aspect of music. Whereas the melody and manodharmam, that is one very beautiful and musical aspect of music. So laya and melody can be seen as feminine, masculine and feminine, the shringaram or the ardhanari quality of music. This ardhanari quality is there in every woman. I'm, with due respects to all men, I feel we have a lot of the strength of the other gender also in us. And the Ardhanari is beautifully in proportion in every woman that we come across in life. There are many poets, many saints from India who have sung the greatness of women, from Mahakavi Bharatiyar to Kalidasa to name any poet. They have all praised, sung the praise of women. I personally have really enjoyed reading the educator, author, activist, historian Maya Angelou's lot of quotes, beautiful quotes on women. She says, the woman who survives intact and happy must be at once tender and tough. This is a beautiful quote. The woman who survives intact and happy must be at once tender and tough. Tender and tough. I see this quality in music also. So as a musician, these 2 years during the pandemic, I experienced these qualities and I understood myself very well. I could relate internally with what the personality I am, and I could bring out my best during these last 2 years. Maya also says, at 50, I began to know who I was. It was like waking up to myself. I also went through the same experience. And music greatly helped me in every aspect of life during these 2 years, whether I was doing more domestic work than I have ever done all my life. I was sweeping, mopping, cleaning dishes, cooking, and generally running the house. And also I was practicing music more intensely than ever. So I was rediscovering myself during this period. And I should thank the social media, technology, for allowing me, for helping me to take different roles from the safe roof of my house. Sitting at my house, at my home, I could play multiple roles as a teacher, as a performer, as doing my bit as a socially conscious person, as a nature lover, as a wife, as a mother. I could take up all these roles, and because of music, it helped me to bind everything together beautifully, and I could see my strength come out during this period. So to me, music has all the qualities of a beautiful womanhood, and womanhood finds its reflection in music also in every aspect: creativity, imagination, resilience, discipline, and much more. During this pandemic, I was also blessed to do something that can be called the first of its kind. My father and my guru, Sri Lalgudi Jayaraman, his 90th birthday was on the 17th of September 2020. I, along with my brother Anna, Sri Lalgudi Jijayakrishnan, we set out to celebrate his 90th birthday in a very grand way online using the strength of social media. It was a great experience for me because I had to connect with a lot of artists and his students all over the world. And I had to sit at home and record some speeches, whatever speech I had prepared for conducting the event. Everything I had to do from my home. And we had to put everything together. What was interesting is the fact that for his 80th birthday, which happened at the Academy, Music Academy, only the number of audience who could fit into that auditorium could participate. Whereas when we did this celebration on social media through YouTube, the whole world was with us. 3 hours of celebration and a variety of events was presented by both of us, Anna and myself. There was dance, there was singing, there was students participating and paying their tributes to their gurus, and there were other great musicians who also participated, and they also paid their tributes to our guru. Everything was recorded and well planned, and everything was stitched together in a 3-hour-long program, and it was presented. This, according to me, is a very proud achievement that without any knowledge or any technology, I'm not savvy technologically, I'm not savvy, but still we could manage to do that because of the blessings of our guru. And if you want to see and enjoy this celebration, it's still available on the YouTube channel. So you can always go and enjoy the events there. Other than that, Pandit Ravi Shankarji's birthday also was celebrated online, and we were very happy to learn one of his taranas, and we again paid a tribute going out to one of the beautiful locations here in Chennai, and with very minimal, one cameraman and one audio person, everybody standing at a distance, maintaining safe distance. They recorded this, and we could pay our tribute to Panditji with the tarana during this period. Other than that, my highlight during the pandemic was when I presented healing ragas. Before the pandemic, my lifestyle as a musician was I used to hop from one auditorium to the next, traveling all the time, and I had no time to pause, what they call as carpe diem, to pause and enjoy life, to be thankful, to think of many things. I never had the time. But during this pandemic, I could just pick my violin, put my phone in the front, and switch on the camera and play a raga that came to my mind that day for 5 minutes, for 6 or 7 minutes, and then record it and present it as healing ragas. I did some 15 episodes of healing ragas, and every Friday at around 7 a.m., I used to post this. This was a beautiful highlight, because I was doing it without anybody's help. I did everything myself, what to play, what pictures to show, and how to record it. And one fine morning, I decided to record the morning raga, Bauli, standing at the balcony of my house. I started the recording at around 6 o'clock. After setting the camera, I just waited for the day to break, little bit of light, and I started playing Bauli. When I was playing Bauli, there is this huge tree very close to the balcony. From there, I could hear the cuckoos cooing. And when I heard the cuckoo, I wanted to imitate. I wanted to bring that out in the Bauli Ragam that I played. And it beautifully, the music could lend itself to express the cuckoo's, glides, as it called out. And it became Bauli Raga. And all this is something I got to explore and understand. I could relate to nature. I could pause and appreciate nature. And I could appreciate many other things around me because of music, because of what I am, the musician that I am. So I did this healing ragas every Friday, and I used to post it. At one point of time, during the first stage of pandemic, when we were all wondering how to react, how to be safe, what is happening, when is it going to end, and we had no clue of what severe situation we were in. At that point of time, I also had a personal from my very close family member, there was a health setback, and I had to manage that also during that period. I had to be at the hospital amidst all this COVID stress. I was there taking care of the patient, and I had to visit hospital every day, at least thrice, very close to my house. The hospital was, and I found the resilience in me. I found it was a surprise. I was discovering myself at a situation as that, which is very stressful. I could act with calmness. I could decide. I could stay focused. I could be resilient, and at the same time, I could be caring also, which I didn't realize. And once the surgery was over, I had to come back home. It was a Thursday, and the next day I was supposed to post Healing Raga. I thought, I'm not going to do that. I was looking very tired. I was drained out. But then my aunts, who are like my mother, they inspired me. They said, you should not stop. The surgery has been a success. So you should definitely post a raga tomorrow. And I decided, why not put a column and record or the video of the column, and then play a raga which will take its curves and glides through the column. So this I did because I didn't want to show myself in the camera. And I first put the column and I recorded the video. Then I sat and started playing. And my mind could instantly connect, and it was very peaceful. And I could play the ragam to suit the visuals, and I posted it. So these healing ragas were received with a lot of appreciation by the Rasikas. And later on, I stitched it all together, and all these ragas are available under the title Healing Ragas during the pandemic. One more thing was, before the pandemic, every other day I used to meet my brother, and since we performed together, we used to practice a lot. But this was also not possible. My brother could not visit me, I could not visit him. But we made it a point to meet on Skype every day, and we used to start with a prayer, Subramanya Bhujangam, and we used to recite that together. And then we used to sit and practice, go through old kritis, many kritis that we had not played for a very long time. We could revisit them and brush our memory, and we could perfect our art. It was very helpful then. And the other thing is, in the Laya area, in every concert, we tend to come up with new korvais and new rhythmic patterns, but we never have the time to note it down. We never have the time to collect all of that and keep it, which I did during this pandemic. I made sure to listen to all the concerts, and I almost prepared a book of chorwise and all the laya patterns that so far my brother has improvised and created. My guru and father has given us all that I could compile together, and I could. It was something I did for myself to strengthen my area of laya aspect. One more thing that was I very gratifying was to teach my students. As a mother, I could empathize with what the young students were going through during this pandemic. Each one was facing a difficulty. As parents, we had our own challenges. As teachers, going on online and teaching is not an easy thing. Teachers were facing challenges. But I thought I should make myself available for the students at this point of time, more importantly than ever. And I used to teach them at whenever I saw a message asking for classes, immediately I made myself available amidst my domestic work and my practice and everything. I did teach a lot, and I conducted workshops. And the workshops were even more interesting because there were a lot of housewives or homemakers who also joined these workshops. And music becomes a language then. Music becomes a common language, and we are expressing all our emotions through sharing music, which is what I did. And as Santoshji rightly put, every cloud has a silver lining. I feel this pandemic, these last 2 years, has kind of, it has tapped and brought ourselves more sensitive to many emotions like empathy and understanding others' challenges. Like my milk woman who would unfailingly deliver milk packets even during the last 2 years of pandemic, Mohana. Mohana used to come home and ring the bell at 5:30 and used to deliver milk. And I used to call her once in 2 weeks to find out whether she was taking all the safety measures and wearing her mask and going to the milk depot. And I was worried about her safety. So many such emotions that we never confront or we never let express themselves through us, those emotions could find space during this pandemic. I thought I was more empathetic, and I was evolving as a musician and as a person. So I'm very thankful. The silver lining is that I could express myself and more become a more sensible and sensitive person. And as a musician, performer, I absolutely enjoyed performing at home without any of those paraphernalia like wearing jewels and getting ready for the concert or worried about the mic system and things like that. I could just sit, grab my violin and play and share the music. There was no rigidity with regard to what concert list I was going to play. No such demands or expectations from anyone. I could play what I wanted and share with the audience. So I feel we have all evolved a lot during this pandemic, and we are better human beings. And so I'm thankful for that. Lastly, I definitely enjoyed listening to both Santoshji and Srimati Gayatri ji, and I'm waiting to listen to Supriti ji also. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. I thank Nrityodaya Academy and Shankarlal Sundarbai Shasan College for Women, Chennai. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your enlightening words. Now I call upon Ms. Supriti to share a few words.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. I want to start by thanking Rajshri for reaching out to me and Jayashri ma'am for the college to decide to have this event and to have such a distinguished panel. I mean, I'm so sort of touched by Santosh ji's talk and the work that Gayatri ji has done. I mean, it's amazing to get back in touch with Sanskrit. And Vijay Lakshmi ji is, I was talking to her just yesterday, day before, because they are regular artists at SPICMAK and we are always in touch. But I'm really so touched because I saw a side of her which I did not know. And it's so nice to really see that, It's very inspiring, to say the least. So I would really like to share with you a little bit about what SPICMAK has tried to do during this pandemic time. All of us know the arts have healing powers. They have the powers to balance and to remove doshas and do amazing stuff. And which is what SPICMAK has, promoted or actually believed in, and which is why it has existed for 45 years now, which itself is a story, but with the support of amazing artists, including Lalgudi sir. And I was just thinking he would be so proud of Vijay today because of what she did and said, but artists like that have been the pillars of SPICMAK. And they have taught us a lot about giving, about being empathetic, about working hard, about having discipline, and the way gurus have given to their disciples and students. I mean, it's amazing and something to learn from. So for me, as a woman, I mean, I think I just think of myself as a volunteer in SPICMAK. For me, the thing that I have learned a lot from is from Dr. Kiran Seth, who is our founder. And he is somebody who has always had, I believe, a lot of feminine qualities of nurturing, of nourishing volunteers, artists, the art forms, of having the kind of resilience that Vijay was talking about. And so when the pandemic hit us, in the beginning, there was a lot of, with all the lockdowns, there were no performances happening. And even we thought, okay, let's wait for it to get over and then we can start our SPICMAK programs. And he said, no, there is no need to stop. Let's do online. Something that in SPICMAK we used to literally not look up to. I won't say look down upon. We would say, how can you do Skype classes? It is so different from, sitting in front of a guru. But something that we never really looked up to. And then as we started doing these online programs, we have done, I don't have the exact count, but I think around 1,200 programs during the last 2 years. We do a large convention, which is a week-long residential program. And in the online format, we called it Anubhav because it means experience. We wanted students to experience this, the beauty of our arts. And we started Anubhav 1 in June of 2020, Anubhav 2, and then Anubhav 3, which happened in October of 2021. And by 2021, we had all learned to leverage technology. So in Anubhav 3, if I can just give you a glimpse of what the program was like, we had more than 250, 300 volunteers from across the globe working on this project. And the way things happen in Anubhav, students wake up at 4 in the morning, they do Nad Yog, they do Hatha Yog and meditation till 7 a.m. for 3 hours. Meditation could be Gurbani, meditation could be Buddhist, Tibetan meditation, could be Brahma Kumaris. And then from 9 to 12, they engage with a guru in a workshop or an intensive for 3 hours each day for 5 days. And we did 150 different workshops of different art forms by the best gurus of the country. The advantage of doing this during the pandemic was leveraging technology. And we had students attending, nearly 12,000 students attending this, including students from Singapore, from Korea, from Japan, from Abu Dhabi, from Bangladesh, and other countries. So that was an eye-opener for us, that the scale that we could reach out, that we could accomplish was totally different from what we were doing pre-pandemic time. And then we had afternoon programs. So I want to just give you a little bit about the workshops. We had an intensive by Ustad Wasifuddin Dagar for a school in Assam, in Guwahati. He lives in Delhi. He's teaching students in Guwahati. We had Bharatanatyam by the Dhananjayans, teaching a school in Hubli, Dharwad, along with some children from Singapore and some children from Japan. And we had amazing artists. We had Darshana Javeri ji teaching students in Bangladesh because they were very keen to learn the Manipuri dance, and she could also speak in Bengali. We did all this matchmaking and it was amazing. Sitting in Bombay, she's teaching students in Bangladesh. It was an eye-opener at many levels in terms of the scale of the outreach and the impact that it was having. Students would come diligently for their workshops, learn, and on the last day, they all presented whatever piece had been taught to them by their guru in front of everyone. That was something which was a great accomplishment for SPICMACAY. After that, we would have afternoon programs, which would have different folk art forms from different parts of India, cinema classic screenings, followed by discussions with directors or actors who were in the film or art critics. And then we would also do theater. So in the evening, we would do classical music and classical dance concerts from 6:30 to 9:30 by the best artists of the country. This is the format we have always followed for the last 35, 40 years for our conventions. But what changed in the pandemic was the scale, the outreach, and that was phenomenal. It's not about what we could do. It's about how many children we could reach and how many children's lives we could impact. Because I think one thing about the pandemic is that it brought in a little bit of resignation, maybe depression, maybe some things that we did not even recognize in our mental well-being, happening to us at that time. Watching so much of news with depressing news of, deaths and sickness and loss that people had, people losing their jobs, the way migrant workers were going away, it was quite pathetic. One of the things, of course, a lot of artists, especially a lot of folk artists, didn't have any income. And one of the things that SPICMACAY started was a Support the Artists campaign, where we managed to raise enough money to minimally support more than 500 artists. We created videos of their work and we had them speak out to the public, put up their bank details, and we put that all up on YouTube so that even if anybody wants to support them, they can just reach out to them directly without having to go through SPICMACAY. But it's not just this. once we felt that it's possible to do online programs, in this whole ambience or environment of uncertainty, because we didn't know when it was going to end. We thought it has ended, and then the second phase came. We thought it has ended, and then the third phase came. And people are fed up of having to go through that. But I think for children, it has been a disruptor in more ways than one. They're in their formative years. And to face this kind of uncertainty, disruption of their regular routine of having the ability to go to school and study there, and replacing that with just a mobile camera or something like that, has been quite a disruptor. Not getting into social skills of working with other students, teachers. There's a lot that has changed. That has been Speak McKay's mission, to impact children, especially in their formative years, which is why Speak McKay has always been located inside education campuses, working with school and college students, because we believe this is very much a part of education. It must be. The arts must not be extracurricular activities. The arts must be curriculum. We should, if we want to Indianize our education, we must be teaching our children 1, 2, 3, ABC, E, and Sarega. That is what will Indianize our education. That's the belief with which we have been working for the last 45 years. And I'm very grateful to Dr. Seth and so many other volunteers, men and women, who have supported this vision of reaching out to children, especially during the pandemic. We have programs that we do. They're just not programs. It's not just a concert, but we try to engage children in the conducting of the program. So every Saturday we have a Great Master series where we have a great master like, say, MS Amma or Shemangudi Srinivasa or Pandit Bhimsen Joshi or Bala Saraswati Amma. Somebody who's done some phenomenal work. But unfortunately, if we ask some of our children in schools today, they won't know who they are. And we thought that we must not let that go away. So we started the Great Master series, where we have a prime disciple or a child of that great guru come and share their stories about the great guru. And then we listen to a concert of that guru. So we had Lalgudi Jayaraman sir also, and we had Vijay and Krishnan sir come for that. But it's lovely to have that. And we have school children do the research, find the concerts, ask the questions, so that they feel engaged. It's not just something where they are watching, but they are totally engrossed and engaged in that. We have a classical evening series every Saturday at 6 p.m. and we follow the same format. We make the students research on the artist who's performing. We have a craft series every Sunday in the morning at 12 noon, where we bring a master craftsman, a nationally awarded master craftsperson of the country, to come and show how they actually deliver their craft. It can be anything. It can be kalamkari painting. It can be theva jewelry. It can be chittara. It can be basket weaving. But for children to develop the patience of just sitting there and watching the artist very, very carefully draw out a gold wire to create a pattern of theva jewelry. I think that is subtle learning that can happen, I hope, through some of these Speak McKay programs. So I do want to say that we are running out of time, so I will stop here. There's a lot we can share, but it's not about what I have done. I think there are so many and lots of women who are very, very powerful in Spikmake. Our current national chairperson is an 80-year-old, young, dynamic woman, Mrs. Kunda Mahurkar. She has served the movement for nearly 35 years. She's a yoga practitioner. She can beat me at anything, I think. There's so many young women. We have our national vice chairperson is Mrs. Usha Ravichandran. She has been there. She's retired as a director from DDA, but she has decided to volunteer all her time post-retirement. We have young people, we have old people, we have so many volunteers spread across the country. It's beautiful to work with women and with men and transgender. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for your insights, ma'am. I now request Dr. Rajshri Vasudevan, Director, Center of Excellence, Art and Culture, to take over.
Thank you so much. I don't know where to start and where to continue because the inputs, the observations by all four of them have been so amazing, each different in its own way, but I think bringing out women power so eloquently, whether it was Mrs. Santosh Rajan, who started off by saying that art is a substratum on which we women build our lives more effectively than men in a sense. And I think that kind of sums up the entire concept of women power. And it was amazing to see how a language can grip the imagination of not just one individual like Srimati Gayatri Sundaresan. As she said, music is also a language. So she brought two languages together in her attempt, I would say. But it kind of gripped the imagination of the entire country. I mean, the work done by IIT Roorkee and Samskrita Bharati was just amazing. People who had never touched a Samskrita book were on the way to almost completing all the 4 levels of Samskrita education. So that is the power of a Deva Bhasha, Deva Vani, I would say. And it is so natural for a woman to take to it, to take in the power of that language and to bring it out in different ways, especially express herself as music. And I think Lalgudi Viji just carried the whole thought forward. It was just amazing the way she mentioned about how she herself realized or understood her different facets. I mean, I think it was a kind of a relearning, rediscovery of her own facets. And that's a learning for all of us as well. I think during the pandemic, we did a lot of things which we would never have done earlier, not just because we were not interested, but we simply said that we didn't have the time. And so probably the one above said, okay, if time is your problem, I give you all the time that you want, but it's up to you to use it. And I think like women always use their time best. We also use our time in the best possible manner to tap some talents, some hobbies, some interests of ours, which we had put locked up in the cupboards because other family and professional commitments take center stage. We brought all that out. It came tumbling out at great speed. And I think it has kept us very, very busy here onwards. I don't think we are going to be the same people whom we were before the pandemic. That's for sure. They've all changed. And hopefully, I think we've all changed for the better as well. And as far as Supriti's inputs were concerned, I second that 100%, having been part and parcel of Spikmake for many years, especially when she was telling about the routine of the convention. It brought back a lot of nostalgic memories because it was a tough call, making the students get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go for Nada Yoga, especially after they had had a late night listening to some of the maestros well into the night. And that's a different experience altogether. And it was wonderful how Spikmake, under the guidance of Dr. Kiran Seth, had literally reinvented itself. As she said, the online aspect was anathema. And we are being frank. SPICMAC just doesn't like the online part of it. It likes live concerts, live interactions. In fact, they are very particular that every artist who performs in any school or college must interact with the students. And even the great maestros very willingly answer some simple questions put by naive first-timers. You know, even things like which song do you like best, and which is your best instrument, and why do you like the violin more than the sitar, and simple things like that, which we would never ask, say, Lalgudi Jayaraman sir or T.N. Krishnan sir. We wouldn't do that. But young children will, and they also enjoyed it. But this time, we were also part of those virtual sessions of SPICMAC. We had a fud painting workshop, which our girls enjoyed a lot. And we had, of course, other sessions by Professor TBG. So yes, it's true. She summed it up very well, how SPICMAC has, I would say, come of digital age. Though some of the best brains were there, the best technological brains have been there, supporting Dr. Kiran Seth, who is himself from Professor Emeritus from IIT Delhi. So it has been fascinating listening to all of you. And as we realize that it is a topic that we can go on and on, because we all live through it, we all experience it. But I would just like to end with a quote before we have the official vote of thanks. And that is, we need women who are so strong that they can be gentle, who are so educated that they can be humble, so fierce that they can be compassionate, so passionate that they can be rational, and so disciplined that they can be free. And it is by an advocate who has said this, and I think she has probably seen all this happening in the courtroom, in the drama, in the courts, and the drama of real life. So on that note, I would like to the MC to take over. But on a personal note, I would really like to thank all four of you who have joined in today, and also to Dr. Jayashree for recommending two wonderful speakers as Srimati Santosh, Rajan, and Srimati Gayatri Sundaresan, and of course, two of our own, Lalgudi Vijay Lakshmi and Ms. Supriti. So over to the MC. Thank you so much.
Really honored to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. I now call upon Ms. Srividya, COE Art and Culture staff, to propose the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Come to the end of the session. So I think it was great. All of you, thank you so much for, I think it's been a very busy day for most of you, because Women's Day celebrations are going on everywhere. In fact, in college,